Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Anna Sakina. I'm a PhD student in education psychology. So for today, we're sharing about the effectiveness of our school-based emotional intelligence interventions on resilience among bullying victims. So this is my topic of research that I will be doing across the year. So, what are the research issue? So, as we know, the bullying issue is increasing year by year, and we also have a cases of bully that causes a death and much more that we have not gone into depths. So, bullying among Malaysian secondary school is increasing, and the victims experience emotional distress and low resilience. So that is why emotional intelligence it will help. Couple of research have been given that emotional intelligence do help a student cope with adversity. So limited research in emotional intelligence interventions focusing on bullying victims in MRSM are lack. So this is why the research is being introduced. So what are the research questions? So identify MRSM students who experience bullying. So in that, we also develop and implement interventions which focusing on emotional intelligence. Examine changes in EI after the interventions and also evaluate the effectiveness of emotional intelligence interventions on resilience. So, of course, the research question would be what are the baseline of level of bullying, emotional intelligence, and resilience? So, are there changes in emotional intelligence after the interventions have been done? And what are the difference between interventions and control groups? So, there are several control groups that will be selected. And thus, emotional intelligence will predict the resistance and the resilience of the students itself. So, what are the research design that will be proposed for this research? Is based on Creswell's, which is a mixed method, which is sequentials of experimentally designed. So, we will introduce quantitative and qualitative in order to strengthen the research itself. So on a quantitative, we have a quasi experimental, which we will do pre and post test. We have also qualitative, which is semi-structured interview in order to see whether the emotional intelligence do improve the resilience of students, especially those who are happen to be bullying victims. So populations and sample we will choose from 2 and from 4 students from 1 MRSM. So why we do choose from 2 and from 4? There are several research that mentions that this age of 14 and 16 is those who are experienced because 13, let's say from 1, they just entered the high school, whereas from 5 they are mostly focused on their examinations. So other than that, we will use purposive sampling and also student identify using bullying victimization skills. So these are the two instruments that we will be doing, which is bullying victimization skill and also emotional intelligence skill, which we will use for adolescent. So if we were doing data analysis for quantitative, so descriptive statistic will be the baseline in order to identify the subject. Paired sample t-test is within the group. Repeated measure ANOVA is between group, and also we will do multiple regression analysis. Whereas for the qualitative, definitely will use thematic analysis based on Brown and Clark on the 6 steps that we have analyzed and use this as explained quantitative finding. So, so what do we expect from the research is to improve in the emotional intelligence, increase the resilience among bullying victims, and also emotional intelligence contributes significantly to the resilience. As a conclusions that I can make from this is this research is purposely to ensure that our interventions, which is intelligent emotional intelligence, is and will be beneficial for bullying victims, especially those who are high achiever school, such as MRSM, or maybe we can expand the research to be a high, for example, normal high schools, and support school-based psychological interventions and useful for MRSM and similar residential schools. So this is all the conclusions that I can make from the research that we're doing. So thank you so much. We'll go through on details later on.